I joined 80-20 this year with the encouragement of SBWU. I am chair of the fundraising committee, and I'm on the executive board. I just retired 2 years ago from the presidency of St. Cloud State University. Prior to that, I was chancellor at Auburn University in Montgomery, Alabama. It's unusual for an Asian American to be in the Deep South, but I spent 10 years there in Louisiana and in Alabama, and was able to accomplish quite a bit. And then I spent 7 years at St. Cloud. It's the second largest university in the state of Minnesota. But when I grew up in California, I and my family were incarcerated during World War II. And so we had to be shipped off to Gila Bend, Arizona, and put behind barbed wire during World War II. And so I speak to a lot of student groups and different universities on these issues, especially on Martin Luther King Day. And so I can see that through my education that civil rights in this country has been diminished, especially in the last decade. And so as I completed my 2 presidencies, I found that there is such a dearth of leadership of Asian Americans in higher education. We are the worker bees, but we are not allowed to be the leaders of these institutions. And when people tell me that Asians don't have the ability, then I come back and say, how come in China we have Asian leaders? How come in South Korea, and Korea, and in Japan, all of the above? So I feel very passionate about participating in 80-20 because it's the only organization I found that continues to assist Asian Americans to become more visible and make a difference in the citizens. Well, it's a sad thing because I believe the Asian society has created a group of citizens that don't stick up. And you remember in Japan, they will say the nail that sticks up gets pounded down. And consequently, we have become labeled as a model citizen. We do the work, we don't question authority, and we keep our head down, and we are paid just enough. It's a trickle-down economy, so that we are allowed to be happy, and we are seen as being overrepresented in education because we work hard. But we are at the same time being penalized because of our success. Well, I've already seen difficulty, and I've written an article 10 years ago in the Chronicle of Higher Education. That's the education newspaper for higher education administration in the nation. 10 years ago in California, we had one Asian president, Bob Suzuki. Since then, they had asked me to give an update. So September of '09, I wrote an article on the CSU again, and guess what? After 23 four-year campuses, there are 0 Asian presidents, 0 academic presidents. There are 13% of the faculty are Asian Pacifics, and 18% of the student body that are Asians. There are much fewer African American students and faculty, less than 6%, and yet there are 5 African American presidents and 4 Hispanic presidents. And yet nobody questions or challenges or brings the chancellor of the Cal State system to task. What is wrong with us? So that's why I joined 80-20. We're here in San Francisco. San Francisco State University has a large percentage of Asian students. Why don't we have an 80-20 chapter made up of students? Wouldn't it be wonderful to allow the political impact of these students to practice what they preach, either as student leaders or in the city or in statewide elections. I will bet you that if you do that, that you're going to develop future governors 10, 15 years from now from that type of seed. So I am passionate about what we're talking about. I have said we have been incarcerated long enough, and so it's time that the majority of the people in this state give respect to Asian Americans. And so if we don't stand up, if we don't become the nail that stands up, who's going to do that? And it's time that our citizens and people, I want my children, I want my grandchildren not to have to go through the kinds of disrespect that we've had to do.